I began to hear stories in the media about high school students not passing the MCAS and therefore not earning their high school diploma. And many of these students who weren't passing the MCAS were from the very groups who education reform was intended to help. These were students of color, students with disabilities, English language learners, and I became concerned at that time and asked myself the very fundamental question about this exam. Do the supposed benefits of having a high-stakes exam, an exam that can potentially deny students their high school diplomas, do the benefits of that kind of exam outweigh the harm that it's doing to some of these students and their families when they can't earn a high school diploma?
I want to take a look at one of the clips from the documentary. This is of a student named Astrid, and we'll see how emotional this event was for her. So let's take a look at the clip.
Astrid is one of the intended beneficiaries of education reform. She attended high school in Brockton, Massachusetts. 40% of Brockton's high school freshmen leave school before they graduate.
Why are we taking this test? Do I have to prove to you? Shouldn't my grades prove already that I'm smart enough to get my high school diploma? I mean, I really dislike that test. And I mean, every time I had to take it, there was no hope for me. I just didn't like it. I never took that test with a positive feeling or positive thinking. During high school, I was I had a couple friends that were in the same situation as me, and they decided to drop out of high school. And the reason why I didn't drop out of high school was because my mom said to me one day, which I had no idea, but when she was back in her country, she didn't even attend high school. And the fact that my sister and my brother, who aren't originally from this country, have a high school diploma, and I do not, for somebody who was born in the country, it was very shameful and embarrassing. My mom said that, this is your graduation, and even though you didn't pass the MCAS and didn't get your diploma, you should still go. But I was very strong-minded and said I would not go until, I passed the MCAS. I would not go to my graduation, so I didn't go. I missed it. What really made me look at MCAS differently, what really made me look at the test differently was one day my sister and I were talking about the MCAS and how, she's like, you're never gonna pass that test because you just can't think straight and you just can't do it. And the moment that really made me realize, look, I'm going to take that test and I'm going to get my diploma was when she said, look, Astrid, you're just not smart enough to pass the test. And at the moment, can we stop for a second?
Sure, it's okay, sure.
Sorry. At that moment, that was the breaking point for me. And I woke up and was like, I'm going to show you that I am going to pass that MCAS and I'm going to get my diploma and I'm going to show you how smart I am. And I decided to go to Massasoit Community College for the program, the free tutoring program, because this was the only thing that was stopping me from going to college, moving on with my life, being financially stable, getting a degree and being financially stable. This test was in my way and nothing gets in my way.
Not only have things not gotten better, but we have a widening diploma gap between the students in general education and students in special education. In 2003, the first year the MCAS was used as a graduation requirement for high school seniors. There were about 50% in general education, about 50% of the students who failed the exam were in general education, and about 50% of the students who had failed it, hadn't passed it by the end of their senior year, were in special education. Now, if we move forward to 2012, the last year we have data for, about 3/4 of the students who are not passing the MCAS by the end of their senior year are students with disabilities. So we have an MCAS-driven diploma gap, and in fact that is widening for students with disabilities. And these are individuals through no fault of their own are struggling in the academic curriculum. And what a lot of people don't realize is this has both a personal and economic impact. It has an economic impact on the individual who doesn't pass the MCAS, because the average annual income of someone without a high school diploma is less than $15,000 a year. And it costs the rest of us about $250,000 over a course of someone's lifetime when that person doesn't have a high school diploma, because that person doesn't pay as much in taxes and needs more social and related services. Just about any decent way of making a living is foreclosed for these people. And so they see it as a social justice issue. And they wonder how in the 21st century can we have such a barbaric practice for students with disabilities. I'm in the process of finishing a new documentary with one of my graduate students in school psychology, Tim McIver, and the documentary is called Jesse's Journey. It's about a successful boycott of a district-mandated test in Seattle, Washington. Jesse, a history teacher at Garfield High School, led his fellow teachers in a boycott of a district-mandated standardized test.
We're at a moment here where we can change the paradigm of education and make it much more student-centered and have schools meet the needs of their communities they serve. And so that gives me endless energy.
It's a wonderful, heartwarming story about what can happen when a group of teachers stand together, engage the community, and reach out to others and stand on principle and do what's in the best interest of the students.